What it do? Dream Team, it's your boy DJ back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with 7 things you won't expect when you move to Australia. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it's suggested. I'm excited to see if there's some things that I haven't heard in a different video, if we got some new things. Before we jump in though, if you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon and drop it in the comment section. Oh, you go!
Moving to the other side of the world is a long and drawn out process, and to be honest, it's pretty difficult. When you do it, it's so much of a blur that you're probably not going to think everything through. And to be honest, that's probably not a good idea. So to help you out, we want to share with you our 7 things that you wouldn't expect when you first move to Australia. G'day guys, my name's Ross and this is my wife Sam, and we moved to Australia during a global pandemic. After spending 2 weeks in enforced hotel quarantine, one of the things that we weren't expecting that much was everyone to be so friendly. In the UK, we weren't used to people being so friendly, and after 10 years of living, well, adult living I suppose, I think we made about 3 friends, like that were neighbours.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we had more friends.
That didn't sound right. It sounded like we only had 3 friends, no matter where they lived or where they came from.
That's legit. The way you said it the first time, yeah, it sounded like y'all only had 3 friends, yeah.
I think we had 4 actual friends. But to find like people being so friendly and neighbourhood friends, that definitely wasn't something which we had in the UK at all.
That's better. Neighbourhood friends.
Apparently I'm an English teacher now and I can't speak and I get corrected by my wife. Like now, how many friends do we have in our street where we live? I think we pretty much know
4, 5.
everyone in the street, and we would probably say that, yeah, at least 5 of them would be good friends.
Yep.
Sorry if you any of you have seen this and kind of counting and you're wondering if it's you, but I can gladly say I think there's only 1 weirdo in the street.
Yeah.
Apart from me, so 2 weirdos. But there's one guy's a bit weird.
They're not weird, they actually aren't friendly, they're quite rude. They slammed the door in my face.
Yeah, when we first moved in and we were just introducing ourselves and they just decided to do the slamming. I've never had a door slam in the UK, so maybe that's a first for Australia. But generally speaking, I think Australians are pretty friendly across the board, and whilst it might kind of seem quite false at the start, especially when everyone seems to ask you how you going, I think if you wanted to have the conversation with them, as long as you were to persist, I think most people would be up for having a chat.
Oh yeah.
And it just makes you feel a lot happier about your daily life because you don't feel so isolated.
Everyone's your mate. I always greet you with your name. It's like, you alright mate? Even you call me mate. I'm like, I'm not your mate, I'm your wife.
No, we're friends.
I guess so, but I don't like being called mate.
Thing number 2 is...
I definitely understand that. Alright, but yeah, the Australian people, the amazing people of Australia, yeah, they are very friendly, very laid back, and so it's dope that they had a very friendly experience once they got there. But yeah, the mate thing, instead of mate, I say bro. I call everybody bro, and so I literally call. But yeah, instead of mate, I use bro, and like I call my girlfriend bro. She calls me bruh. Like, I don't know. That's just my mate. Keep it going.
Is probably because I'm such a slacker anyway, but in Australia you get so many public holidays. In Queensland I counted it up and we get 15 public holidays across the year. So that averages out like at least once a month.
15?
In the US apparently I counted, I'm not really sure if this is correct,
US?
but yeah.
Oh okay, I thought you got confused and meant UK.
Some people do watch us from other places.
Oh, perfect, great.
So in the US apparently
I watch y'all from the US.
there might be around about 13 public holidays, and I thought that was the country where they always moan about how much they're at work, so I was quite impressed with that. In the UK it's 8. How did I live so much of my life having just 8 public holidays?
Oh, wow.
I don't know how I cope, and especially as a teacher when most of them were during the time when I already had off anyway. It's not like I ever really got to enjoy them, but we get 15 now.
Wow.
Oh my god!
Australia Day, Anzac Day, like for the military. You never get a day off for Remembrance Day. You just have to sit indoors and watch the little parade.
Queen's birthday?
Yeah, like it was our Queen, yet they get a day off in October. Just why not? Just spread it out a little bit. We don't even get a Queen's birthday. She has 2 in England. We don't even get one of them. We don't even get one.
Really?
Thing number 3.
You don't get the day off for the Queen's birthday? Or the Queen or the King's birthday?
I think was quite a surprise for both of us, especially when you move because you kind of need an income to be coming in. But we found getting jobs surprisingly easy, and that was not what we were expecting. Like, I found my job actually in our 2-week quarantine. I did my interview while I was in a toilet.
In the bathroom.
I'm not allowed to say on the toilet, although that brings me so much joy.
In the bathroom on a study chair.
It sounds more impressive if I say I have a 100% success rate of getting jobs in toilets, but then that's also a bit weird. So maybe I retract my statement. But you found getting your job pretty easy as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, even with Samantha, she's had so many different changes of careers. Sometimes she changes her job like the wind changes. You started off having a look in beauty. You found that job within, what, a week?
Yeah, really quite quick, but it didn't pan out. It wasn't quite what I expected, and then we just...
I'm sure it would have been good for someone, but just not for you.
Well, when we looked into it, the money wasn't as good as if I went back into disability support work. But a lot of them jobs are casual.
Which is why the pay is a little bit higher. But just actually finding the jobs, I mean, people are crawling out for them.
I just phoned the office randomly. I just did searches and phoned them, and I was like, are you looking for any more support workers? And they were like, yeah. And they were like, when can you come in? And I'm like,
can you come in that day?
Yeah. I said, well, I'm free. And they said, could you come in this afternoon? I was in.
Disability support workers, come on over. Didn't quite make, I think, the top 50 most in-demand jobs. But even thinking about, so where I work in a trade college, and I do work experience visits for our students. And all of the trades that I go round and do visits for, they're always crying out for more tradies. And I suppose that's one of the reasons why we can be so successful, pushing some 16-year-old kid who wants to be an apprentice in front of them, because there's no one else to want to do it. There is such a job shortage across so many jobs in Australia at the moment that finding a job, as long as you're quite open to what you want to do and you have a little bit of flexibility in that, you're definitely going to find some work. It might not be the ideal thing, but then you don't have to do it forever. And if you get lucky like us, we really enjoy our jobs, then that's a bonus. The thing that you wouldn't expect, number 4, coming from the UK.
I thought that's so dope. They just went over there and got a job, both of them within 2 weeks. Like, that's legit awesome. That's super quick. So getting the job, definitely see that. I guess that's something you wouldn't expect. I'm like, but our careers myself, like, I've changed jobs so much. I've had at least, since entering the workforce at like 18, I've probably had at least 10 to 12 jobs, somewhere in between that. Between catering, between fry cook, between dishwashing, between after school teaching, between what else have I done? In school, teacher's aide, I worked in Parks and Recreation, the sporting section, it's just a bunch of different stuff, and now I just do YouTube, which I absolutely love.
UK, where when it gets to the end of the financial year, which is kind of about now, you always have that fear, don't you? Every time the mail comes through and you're looking through it and you see something from HMLC and you know the taxman is not going to be giving you any money. Well, in Australia, number 1, you don't have that request. You have to fill in your own tax form, which was a bit weird, or get an accountant to do it. But you can claim money back. It was such an alien concept for me to be able to get money back from the taxman. They even have what they call EOFI, end of financial year sales, where people just go out and randomly buy stuff at the end of the year that they know they can claim back on their tax. Like, it's everything, like protective gear. Even as a teacher, I can claim tax back for sun lotion because I do outside yard duties.
Hats, sunglasses. And
Mileage. So if you have to drive for your work, which both of us do. Like, you can claim money back for that. I think it's something like 72 cents a kilometre at the moment. Home working. So I've had to do some home working this year because of COVID, and so have you. So we'll have to calculate how much of the year we did that, but there's an amount we can claim back for that. And when it comes in, you get about, I think the average is somewhere like $2,000 and a bit per year. So it makes a significant difference. And in the UK, when the taxman wants money from you, and that seems to be the norm because you're cocking up your tax codes, to be here and to be able to get some money back for just doing your job, it's a nice little bonus at the end of the year. And thing number 5 is Aussie.
Yeah. Kind of same situation here. For me, I can claim money. I mean, I do YouTube, so I use my apartment space as an office. So I claim money back from rent, claim money back from mileage when I'm driving to any other places and making videos. And there's just a lot of different things, office supplies, all kinds of things. My laptop, my computer, my camera, all that. I got to claim money back for all that stuff. So it is, filling out your taxes is a cool thing because all the money you get to claim back.
Aussie scenery. When we first moved, what were you thinking about wanting from your Australian life? And I can tell you now, beaches, even though we're not really beach people.
Yeah, but scenery and green and views and all that kind of stuff, which we don't get in England. We can go 5 minutes down the road and we've got a really nice view.
We did get lovely views in England, not to poo-poo them,
No.
but the bit that ruins it is the weather.
Yeah.
And to stand there and look out over a lovely view and be there in a freaking waterproof coat, standing there freezing with your hands in your pockets, isn't really my idea of, wow, this is wonderful. But here we've got beaches, we're in between the Sunshine Coast, we're going to go down to the Gold Coast soon. But I found that we love different types of scenery now. Like the only thing I don't think we have really seen is we've not gone out into like the outback where everything is red yet.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do that just to kind of see it and
awesome.
experience it. But one of the things that I found with Aussie scenery is you have this fixed mindset of what type of scenery that you like, but when you get here and you start to experience some of the different types of scenery, you're like, oh my god, I don't actually know what to choose from now. Like I think about different places. I saw an advert for visiting Queensland, which is our home state, the other day, and just in this area, and you could see so many different types of scenery, and you're like, this is on my doorstep. I'm so lucky to be able to do this. So if all of this is making you want to move to Australia, then you might want to speak to our friends at True Blue Migration Services. True Blue Migration Services is one of Australia's oldest and largest and most reputable bunch of MARA registered agents. And genuinely speaking, I don't think that we would have moved to Australia if we didn't have the use of an agent. Like, how stressed was I?
You were, and it was making me really stressed.
Yeah. And this was me being able to speak to someone who knew what they were doing and them just saying, we need this form, we need this signature, can you provide us with this piece of evidence? So if I was having to do that as well on top of living and saving money for the whole of the process, we'd probably still be there right now, and I'd have wasted a load of money trying to fill out the form and I'd have done it wrong, because I rush things and I do them wrong. So make sure that you save yourself some hassle, speak to True Blue Migration Services and use their free visa assessment, and let them tell you exactly what your best options are for moving to this beautiful country. And once you've done all of that, make sure to tell them we sent you. It really helps the channel out. Now our next thing that we didn't really expect.
I do love that, right? You have these that sponsorship. You have migration services that help you. You got these agents that I mean, they make moving less stressful when you want to move there. I think that's super dope. The scenery, some of the scenes I've seen in some videos, Australia just seems absolutely beautiful. They have absolutely beautiful scenery there, and I definitely would want to visit. I definitely would want to visit at some point.
It's in Australia, and I suppose we really found this today, didn't we? It's just how clean everything is.
I can't get over it. Like, we went into the city today and there's just like no litter. There's no, there might have been the odd bit of graffiti, but hardly nothing.
Kids are kids.
Yeah, it's so clean, so clean.
Especially in comparison to the UK, we were on one of these like Facebook groups for your local area, and it would be constantly updated with people, normally kids, just wrecking stuff. Like one time the fire brigade got called because they decided they wanted to set fire to the bench.
Yeah.
Another time I saw it, they said don't go to the kids park because someone's decided that they want to,
Smashed a glass.
oh no, not that one. They went one stage further. They decided they wanted to poo down the slide.
Oh, lovely.
It's not like in Australia they have an army of people that just go around and clean stuff up. I think the people here also have more respect for keeping stuff clean and just the environment that we live in. Like, we share it with everyone. So pick up your rubbish, take your stuff home with you, don't throw it on the floor in the first place. You're always going to get the minority of people that are idiots, but I think the vast majority here have the respect for everyone else in keeping things clean, because we're not doing it for us, we're doing it for everyone else.
And also along that kind of line, I never really see dog poo. Like, and there's a lot of dogs here. Like, the majority of the houses here have dogs. Yeah, you just walk down the road and there's just never any poo. Like, everyone is just so respectful. Pick it up.
I remember when I was growing up, there was an alley that went through from like where we lived to one of the local primary schools, and it was called Dog Shit Alley.
Oh god.
That was just the name of it.
And
I
now
swear it even had a sign. Our next thing that we found when moving to Australia, and this
Sorry. Thought I had to sneeze. That's awesome though. People understanding, right? Just pick up after yourself. It's such a basic thing to do. I don't understand why people can't do this. I guess in the UK you got people pooping on slides and all that nasty good stuff. But here in the US we have our fair share of litter, our fair share of craziness. But I don't understand why people just can't understand the concept of picking up after yourself.
This is the one that genuinely made me think, have we made the right decision? Is you do eventually get used to everything being so expensive. When we first came here, you would see how expensive things were. It was eye-wateringly expensive. My pet peeve, when we used to go food shopping, I used to see things like mushrooms, which were quite cheap in England, going for more per kilo than things like chicken. Capsicums,
Really?
I mean, even just the word capsicum rather than pepper. But then just to see how expensive they are, to see how expensive some of the food is out of season. Now, I get it. I get why all of those things are so expensive, transport costs and everything. But I don't know how tourists do it, because once you start earning here and you can see how much money is coming into your account versus how much comparatively goes out, like, I already know that because my wage is higher here, that we are better off financially. Like, we wouldn't have been able to afford this house in the first place just having our wages in the UK. The one thing though that I do find that I haven't got used to with regards to buying things is it still annoys me when stuff is out of stock, and it's out of stock for so long.
Yeah.
We're used in the UK to things being out of stock, but then being able to get it back really, really quickly. Even during COVID, things used to come into stock. If it went out of stock, we'd get another one. Here, you wanted Biscoff, didn't you? It's like Coles didn't have it for like 5 weeks.
Cold.
God dang!
What first world problems do we have?
Well, we're all like, can I have Biscoff? Can I have it? And I said, no, there's none in the shops. It's all gone.
Telling that to a 2-year-old, they just don't get it. They just scream the house down for Biscoff.
And I've noticed the last few weeks they've had no like tissues, and their nappies went really low at one point.
If you work in retail as like some kind of supply chain manager, you are going to get a really good job, and you're going to revolutionise how things are done here, because some of them can't do it.
We also forget that everything is a lot slower over here, and we
Yeah.
are starting to understand that. And
When we first moved, having things not there for like the next week, we're just wondering. It used to annoy us.
Yeah.
Now I just can't get used to it, but it doesn't annoy us anymore. We're like, sorry, Rora, no Biscoff again. You're gonna have to eat dust. Now, our last thing that we didn't expect when we first moved to Australia.
You're gonna have to eat dust. Yeah, but Australia's like pretty far from almost everywhere, so you don't understand why it would take them longer to get things back in stock, or why things would work slower. It just seems like they're pretty far from everywhere else, so it's understandable.
And to be honest, you don't still really know what it is. But leave loading is a thing. Ma'am,
What is
what's
it?
leave loading?
leave loading.
Yeah, not like tree leaves.
I was going to say, is it to do with a tree leaf,
No.
or it's to do with your work?
My work. So because I'm contracted, I'm full-time, and most people in Australia who have that are probably going to get leave loading. Because Sam is a casual worker, most of the time you don't have leave loading, because if you're not working, you don't really have leave. So apparently leave loading is a thing in Australia whereby whenever I take annual leave, which is at the end of the year and over summer holidays, I will get 17.5% on top of my wage. And apparently it dates back to like a union thing when people used to rely on overtime and then not having that when they're on leave. I don't really know where it comes from, but all I know is it's a great thing, and for some reason over the summer holidays I get paid even more for not really doing a lot.
So every break you have.
Now it's not every break,
Okay.
it's just at the end of the year. So it's when you take your big annual leave. So
So
if
is that the December one?
Yeah, over the
Christmas
summer.
one.
Yeah, which is a right touch because Christmas is an expensive time of the year.
Oh, and I think you should talk about superannuation because that's pretty cool over here.
Yeah, in England, as with probably most countries, you kind of have to pay into your pension. I would get contributions from my employer, but as far as they were concerned, if I didn't want to contribute, they didn't have to contribute. So it was a great thing. Here, with the super guarantee, I think it's going up to like 12 or 12.5% by 2025. I don't have to pay into my pension if I don't want to. Every year, 10% of my wage gets added into. So it's like it's extra on top of your wage, but that gets added into my super. That goes towards my pension. That generates money. Some companies as well, if you want to add more, so I do choose to add more, they'll match it as well. So I kind of view it as like free money. They do it before tax as well. So actually, you spend more than you get. It's just like magic money, really. But you put some in, you get some back. So yeah, no, I'd agree. Thank you, Samantha. There's your bonus thing that we didn't expect, because I didn't really look into pensions before we moved over, because as far as I'm concerned, that's an old Ross. That's old Ross's problem. That's not my.
Old. You're fine.
I definitely feel that when John was talking to me about 401ks and like employers and stuff. If you worked here for 20-something years, they get. I wasn't like, none of that was going in my head and sticking in there because I'm young. I'm younger, so I was always thinking, well, like, I'm definitely not gonna be here for 20 years, like. And then I was thinking, like, well, that's old Darian's problem. Like Ross said, that's old Darian's problem. We'll figure that out down the road once we get there. But I'm not planning for 30, 40 years down the line. I just not really thinking about that.
30, what this year? 5?
Yeah.
Look at the state of your hair.
I've been going grey since I was 13.
Gotcha.
I've been going grey for longer than I've not been grey.
And I get super as well, even though I'm a casual worker.
Everyone gets super, which is a great thing, because we're all going to get old and we're all going to need some money. If you have anything that you want to share with everyone else about what you didn't expect when you moved to Australia or lived in Australia, make sure to leave it into the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, you found it interesting, make sure to give us a like, and that way this video can be shared to more people. And if you want to keep listening to me rabbit on, then watch this video here about why you won't regret moving to Australia. See you later.
That was a good video. Thoroughly enjoyed that. That's all we got. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. It's your boy Neal. Out.